Okay. So welcome. I would like to welcome all of you to our council meeting this evening. And we did have a closed session, and there is nothing to report out on that. So the next item on the agenda is the land acknowledgement. And the city of Arcata acknowledges that the lands we are located on are the unceded ancestral lands of the Wiyot tribe. The land that Arcata rests on, known in the Wiyot language as Gudini, meaning over in the woods or among the redwoods. Past actions by local, state, federal governments removed the Wiyot and other indigenous people from the land and threatened to destroy their cultural practices. The city of Arcata acknowledges the Wiyot community, their elders, both past and present, as well as future generations. This acknowledgement seeks to aid in dismantling the legacy and narratives of settler colonialism. So the next item on the agenda is the flag salute. You may join us if you'd like. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mayor Stillman,
Present.
Vice Mayor White,
Here.
Councilmember Schaefer,
Here.
Councilmember Atkins Salazar,
Here.
Councilmember Matthews,
Here.
all present.
Thank you. The next item in our agenda is ceremonial matters, and the first item is going to be a proclamation recognizing World Oceans Day, June 8th, 2025, and I'm going to read that. Whereas the ocean provides 1/2 of the oxygen we breathe, regulates our climate, and provides us with food, water, and economic support, World Oceans Day is an annual opportunity to honor the world's oceans by building awareness of the crucial role the ocean plays in our lives. And whereas the people of Humboldt County can help protect our ocean's future by partnering and volunteering with local schools, organizations such as Surfrider Humboldt, the North Coast Environmental Center, Humboldt Waterkeeper, and whereas the City of Arcata's Environmental Services Department also organizes opportunities year-round to help clean our creeks and improve watershed health by keeping trash from entering Humboldt Bay, thus reducing the impact of marine debris on ocean ecosystems. Now, therefore it be proclaimed, the City Council of the City of Arcata hereby recognizes Saturday, June 8th, 2025 to be, there's an error here, but it says 24. We'll get it corrected for whoever picks this up. To be the World Oceans Day in Arcata, and encourages the community to participate in coastal and watershed cleanups days throughout the year. And it's dated June 4th, 2025, and is signed by Alex Stillman, the current mayor of Arcata, me, and accepted by Nicole Collins. So thank you. I'm coming to you.
Oh,
I
good.
just had to move her purse out of the here. So, I noticed it has the wrong date. Okay, we can get it out if you'd like. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Nicole Collins. I'm a Humboldt County resident and the Ocean Friendly Restaurant Coordinator for the Surfrider Humboldt chapter. On behalf of Surfrider Humboldt, I want to extend our sincerest thanks to the Arcata City Council for this World Oceans Day proclamation. For those unfamiliar, Surfrider is dedicated to protecting and enjoying the ocean, waves, and beaches through a global network of activists. In celebration of World Oceans Day this Sunday, June 8th, I would like to encourage you all to spend time on our beautiful coastline and know that Surfrider works tirelessly to protect it. If you would like to join us for any of our upcoming events or volunteer with Surfrider, you can find our calendar at humboldt.surfrider.org. Perhaps after the beach, you can visit one of the local ocean-friendly restaurants registered with our foundation. The Ocean Friendly Restaurants program is where establishments commit to making eco-friendly choices, primarily eliminating single-use plastics as a way to protect our oceans. Our current ocean-friendly establishments include Six Rivers Brewery in McKinleyville, Northtown Coffee here in Arcata, and Los Bagels. We'd like to thank those businesses for partnering with us on such an important cause. With rising interest and with the help of Arcata's commitment to the environment, we hope to grow this list largely. If any Humboldt restaurants are interested in becoming a Surfrider ocean-friendly restaurant, they may also visit our website at humboldt.surfrider.org. Thank you again for championing this cause. I hope to see you on the beach or at one of our ocean-friendly restaurants this weekend.
Thank you very much. A proclamation designating June 8th through the 14th, 2025, the Week of the Oyster, and Councilmember Schaefer will read that. Thank you.
The Week of the Oyster, whereas the Arcata Chamber of Commerce, to showcase Arcata's relationship to its high-quality water resources and the Arcata and Humboldt Bays, is producing its 35th annual Arcata Bay Oyster Festival on Saturday, June 14th, 2025, to be held on the plaza and throughout Arcata. The Arcata Chamber of Commerce recognizes the city of Arcata and the city of Eureka's significant efforts to improve and maintain water quality in Humboldt Bay, which supports aquaculture, plant and fish populations, and many recreational activities. And whereas our local aquaculture industry farms over 450 acres of Arcata Bay to produce the highest quality and largest quantity of oysters in the state of California. And whereas the Arcata Chamber of Commerce's Arcata Bay Oyster Festival typically attracts visitors from all over the nation and the state of California to enjoy our natural bounty, culinary talent, entertainers, and downtown ambiance. This event is an important showcase for our community and contributes significantly to our local economy through tourism while increasing awareness of local resources, conservation, and our city's unique identity and varied hospitality services. And whereas this year, the entire community, young and old, families and singles, are invited to attend this event on the plaza, featuring live music from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturday, June 14th. Participants are encouraged to dance the day away, taste the unique culinary creations, join the oyster calling or shuck and swallow contests, try the children's activities, and more. There will also be a map showcasing where to find your favorite oysters and artisans, local wines and spirits, and thousands of revelers celebrating our wonderful town. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the City Council of the City of Arcata hereby designates June 8th through 14th, 2025 as the Week of the Oyster and encourages all community members to enjoy the food, fun, music, and frolic at the Arcata Chamber of Commerce's 35th Annual Oyster Festival on the Arcata Plaza, Sunday, June 14th. Signed by Mayor Alex Stillman, and I do not see JD here to accept it, so we will make sure that this gets to our folks at the Chamber.
You just pass it down to me.
Keep it. There we go. Passing it down. I will speak on it for a second. No, I will also be hosting the oyster calling contest again this year, and I'm very excited about it. So come bring your best oyster call and let me hold a microphone so you can scream into it. And I don't know, tell us what sound an oyster makes. Cheers.
And I always work the merchandise booth, so be sure to come and buy your T-shirt or your sweatshirt. So the next proclamation is recognizing 2025 as National Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month, and Councilmember White will read that. Thank you.
Thank you. Whereas there are more than 7 million Americans living with Alzheimer's dementia today, a figure that is expected to grow to as many as 14 million by 2050 if scientists do not develop a cure or an effective treatment. And whereas 1 in 3 seniors die with Alzheimer's or another dementia, it kills people more than breast cancer and prostate cancer combined. Between 2000 and 2022, deaths from heart disease have decreased 2.1%, while deaths from Alzheimer's disease have increased to 142%. And whereas the lifetime risk for Alzheimer's at 45 is 1 in 5 for women and 1 in 10 for men. And whereas more than 12 million Americans provide unpaid care for people with Alzheimer's or other dementias. In 2023, these caregivers provided more than 19 billion hours of care valued at nearly 413 billion. And whereas Alzheimer's disease is a local issue, our friends and neighbors need access to support, services, resources to lessen the disease's impact. In Humboldt County, it is estimated that 3,439 people currently live with Alzheimer's and related dementia. There are another 8,500 caregivers who are caring for a loved one with Alzheimer's, and whereas 4 in 5 Americans feel optimistic about a new Alzheimer's treatment in the next decade, and 92% of Americans would want a medication to slow the progression of Alzheimer's following a diagnosis. And whereas June, the Alzheimer's Association invites Humboldt County residents to participate in the longest day on June 20th. and held annually on the summer solstice, the longest day, invites participants to fight the darkness of Alzheimer's through a fundraising activity of their choice or by wearing purple. Now, therefore, it be proclaimed that the City Council of the City of Arcata recognizes June 2025 as Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month. The City Council thanks Alzheimer's Association for providing service to people and families coping with dementia, dated June 4th, 2025, by our Mayor, Alexandra Stillman. And this will be accepted remotely by Kim Coelho, Community Engagement Manager of the Alzheimer's Association of Northern California and Northern Nevada.
I do not see Kim online right
She's
now.
not online.
We'll make sure we get that to Kim.
Well, thank you very much, and we have a proclamation recognizing June 2025 as Pride Month, and Councilmember Matthews will read that. Thank you.
Okay, proclamation recognizing June 2025 as Pride Month. Whereas the City of Arcata recognizes the month of June as Pride Month, honoring the rich histories, contributions, and ongoing struggles of two-spirit, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, asexual, and all gender-expansive individuals, 2S, LGBTQAI+. And whereas Pride Month commemorates the 1969 Stonewall Uprising, an act of resistance against police brutality led by Black and brown trans women, femmes, and queer youth, including trailblazers such as Martha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera, whose courage ignited a global movement for liberation and dignity. And whereas the legacy of Pride is rooted in protest, mutual aid, and collective resilience in the face of criminalization, state violence, and societal exclusion, especially for those most marginalized within our communities. And whereas today, 2S LGBTQAI+ people, especially transgender and non-conforming individuals, youth, and Black, Indigenous, and people of color, BIPOC, community members, face escalating threats to their safety, bodily autonomy, and rights under a growing wave of anti-LGBTQ+ legislation and rhetoric across the country. And whereas in the face of this rising hostility, the City of Arcata reaffirms its unwavering commitment to the safety, rights, visibility, and joy of 2S LGBTQAI+ communities. We recognize that there is no equity without trans liberation, and we stand firmly with our trans comrades and all queer community members as they demand dignity, protection, and full inclusion in public life. And whereas the city honors the invaluable contributions of 2S LGBTQAI+ people in the arts, education, public service, business, and social justice movements, and commits to amplifying those voices through policy, funding, celebration, and community-driven change. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the City Council of the City of Arcata hereby recognizes June as Pride Month and urges all residents to uplift and celebrate the resilience, brilliance, and leadership of 2S LGBTQAI people. We call on our community not only to celebrate Pride, but to defend it through action, solidarity, and shared commitment to justice for all. Dated June 4th, 2025, signed by Alex Stillman, Mayor, and Julie Tyler is coming to accept this.
Good evening. My name is Julie Tyler, and I use they, them pronouns. As the Arts and Resilience Program Lead at Queer Humboldt, I help build community and connection within the two-spirit LGBTQIA+ community and help create queer joy and connection. Our role as an organization at Queer Humboldt is to bridge supports and resources so that all local queer community members have access to what they need to thrive. We have had our center open to the community for a year, where we host events, mental health services, and a safe space to be in. We chose to establish our center in Arcata because of the strong commitment we have experienced from the local government to support our community. More than ever, it's crucial that queer and trans community be supported during this political movement. For myself, as an openly gender diverse person and Arcata resident since 2013, I want to thank the City of Arcata for all their support and continual work for making this city a safe and welcoming place. Thank you and happy Pride Month.
So now we'll move on to our annual report from the Parks and Recreation Committee. And we welcome you as the chair of the committee. Shelton, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Council, for having me here today. The Parks and Rec annual report, it's an amazing document. We see it every year. It really helps to sum up the scope of work that the Parks and Recreation Department does in a year. It also goes well beyond what comes in front of the committee during the course of our meetings. This year in particular, I think the document really helps to highlight the increased demand on our parks and facilities. Last year, the Parks and Rec Committee really supported and prioritized the effort to care for and maintain the infrastructure that our city currently has. And with the generous support of the council, both part-time and full-time work was added to help meet this increase in demand. Thank you so much, council, for that support. An important job that I think the committees and commissions have is to act as a conduit with the community. It's just another way that our city communicates with our citizens, and this communication can flow both ways. It can be positive and negative, but oftentimes I think that as a community we forget to celebrate our wins, and I think that's really important, and some of them outlined in this document. In 2024, the Recreation Division offered a full summer camp program schedule for the first time since emerging from the COVID-19 pandemic. 2024 also saw several parks and facilities capital improvement projects, including the completion of Carlson Park, at which the city is looking forward to offering an inaugural Camp Carlson this summer. All of these are great things outlined in the annual report, and the report itself is pretty incredible, and none of these things could be accomplished without the wonderful staff our city has. I really think that the staff, both in the offices here and the ones working in the parks, picking up the trash, mowing the lawns, doing the maintenance, they are really, truly a win for the city, and I think they need to be celebrated as well. And I really want to thank the council again for supporting these dedicated people. Thank you so much, and thanks for supporting the parks as well.
And thank you for your presentation. And council members, would you have anything you want to ask or comment on?
No questions, but just always this report is awesome, and I love that you guys include pictures. Those are the best reports because we get to just see everybody enjoying, all the great programs that you guys have supported and, great parks you've given feedback on. So thank you, and the Parks and Rec Committee is always so active, so we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes.
And thank you for all your years of service on the committee and as chair. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm just thrilled about all the new activities that are going to be happening out at Carlson Park. Looking forward to that. Thank you for all you do.
We're excited too.
Yeah, just echo everybody and say thank you. My kids have aged out of camp, but they certainly enjoyed it in their youth, so thank you all so much.
Yep. And
So I just want to read what's on the front of your document. Special thanks to our participants, community partners, volunteers, staff, and other city departments, and the Parks and Recreation Committee. And of course, they mentioned the City Council, but we really want to thank you all because you're doing the work. You're just reporting to us to make another successful year. So thank you very much, and please express our thank you to your committee members.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We're moving on now to staff reports. All reports shall be specifically limited to city business and shall not request or lead to actions by the council at this meeting. A, receive a presentation regarding flash vote from the city manager, Merritt Perry, and B, other staff reports. May we turn it over to you, city manager?
Thank you, Mayor Stillman. So I first heard about Flash Vote a few years ago, and I was kind of interested in the range of applications that it could have for local government. Sometimes it can be challenging for local government to get public input from a broad spectrum of the community. And I routinely hear from a large cross-section of people, but that we don't often see at the council meetings. And so really just think about Flash Vote as a way to reach out to more people and get more inputs. A lot of people are really busy in their daily lives and don't always have time to come to a council meeting unless they feel very strongly or something or about something or they're personally affected. And so this could be a way to get input from more people who have an opinion about the city but aren't passionate enough to be able to come to every council meeting or come to the council meetings. We discussed using Flash Vote at one of our directors' meetings, and we identified a large number of projects that could benefit from that. We have a lot of projects coming up where we're going to be seeking public input, whether it's the creation of a community center, whether it's the reconnecting communities, where we want to hear from the public on transportation options, or whether we just want to hear from the public on what the priorities of the city should be. So we're not looking to replace the traditional ways that we've gone about that. Staff does a great job on organizing workshops, using social media, doing direct outreach to people, but this would just be one more way that we want to try to bring more voices into what we're doing in the community and get a diverse range of input. And we're not, as it says on the, as Mayor Stillman read on the staff report, we're really not asking for any action from the council tonight. There is money in the budget for the draft budget for next year that could be used for this. But I just wanted to take this opportunity to be able to get feedback back from the council on whether or not you think it would be a good idea to pursue this moving forward. And we have Jason Race, with Flash Vote, who's going to give a presentation for us, and then when he's done, you can ask questions, and if you have any, I'm just looking for general feedback of what the council thinks of this as another outreach tool. So with that, Jason is on Zoom, and I will hand it over to Jason.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Perry. Confirming you can hear me okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. Let me switch the screen here so I'm not staring at myself. Really appreciate being here. I have to say this. This is potentially the most positive, grateful, and inclusive council meeting I have ever attended. And I've attended quite a few. So I commend you for that. What an amazing thing you're doing here running the city. That said, I'm here to support Mr. Perry and the city, ideally to kind of present Flash Vote in a way that's personal and conversational, and make myself a resource in this moment to answer any questions you might have about how it works, what its benefits are. I can obviously show examples if we want to get that deep into it, but at a baseline where Flash Vote steps in and complements everything that a city does. If you think about where your input comes from, as Merritt kind of commented on, you have your channels out there, your social media channels, which are full of comments flowing in and suggestions flowing in. You have people attending council meetings and sharing their thoughts and feedback. You have people coming to the city and writing directly to their representatives. You have people in in-person events and focus groups and things that you might facilitate from a community perspective. All those channels are great forms of engagement and are important for you to build connections in your community. Where we find a line gets met, and hopefully Flash Vote takes you over that line, is when there are decisions that need to be made or that queued up, outcomes you want to achieve, challenges you might be crossing, or things you even want to test as whether or not they're an actual problem. The challenge becomes those channels are, as Merritt described, they're usually the people who have an interest in the topic. And the most difficult thing in local government is finding out what that sometimes silent majority can think, because they are regular people with busy lives and they might not have time to come to a council meeting or might not be able to. There are people who choose not to participate in social media. So how do we get those people involved? That's where Flash Vote comes in. It's not as hard, if I told you, it's not as hard to get your entire community involved. The key to that is making it very, very simple, making it interesting to everybody, and completing that loop of transparency and engagement so that everybody sees the value of their participation. Flash Vote, as its core, is a scientific approach to surveying where we establish a panel in your community that's promoted through all channels. It's fully inclusive and open to anybody to participate. When you register, you do identify yourself. However, you remain anonymous in the system to the city. So you are counted in the percentage data results, but the city does not know the individuals that are in the panel. So in that way, it gives residents a really safe place to participate and give their feedback on important decisions that are being made. Flashvote remains as an extension of your team to help promote this channel through all the channels you have and get as many people in the panel as possible. Panel's always open, so people can sign up for it anytime. You can also participate in these surveys without joining the panel if you want. We have a way to kind of compartmentalize that group as well to preserve the integrity of the data. And what you can expect from Flashvote, the results we see is throughout the year, as important decisions, topics, anything from some of the topics Mr. Perry mentioned, from transportation needs to community priorities to park improvements. At the end of the day, everybody's pulled their money in to do the best we can with the community and getting as much feedback as you can towards how people prioritize things, what they consider important, how they would spend $100 across 9 projects. It's really interesting insights when you open it up to the entire community. So what it looks like is short 3 to 5 question surveys that happen throughout the year as the topics show up. They're all professionally crafted by our team with over 15 years experience building out surveys. Launched probably over 1,000 surveys at this point. We work with over 100 different agencies across the country. The longest customer has been with us probably 14 years. These surveys, once they're built, they're put out, they're live for 2 days, which means you get your feedback and data quickly. And in between council meetings, you can find out what the community thinks on things that came up in a previous council meeting. And they're easy to answer. I mean, 3 to 5 questions is a 1-minute ask. So when people sign up, they're signing up because they care. And you only have to care a little bit to take a 1-minute survey. But your data means a lot because it's counted towards understanding how people prioritize things and think about decisions in your community. So with that said, I will open it up to questions, thoughts, concerns. I'm here as a resource to you to help better understand and kind of process how this could be a benefit and a complement to everything you're doing in Arcata.
I do have some thoughts or comments, but we'll start over with you. You have none? What about you?
I'll just make a comment, I guess. I mean,
Please.
Or just a general comment. I mean, when we did the survey for Measure H, it was the same price as a subscription to this for 6 surveys a year, and they can be in Spanish. And is that correct?
Yes, it has Spanish capability, and that's something that we've included in our quote, but it might be good maybe just to run through an example. We don't want to spend too much time on this tonight, but really just to run through how it works. One of the things that's compelling for people to participate is when somebody does respond to a survey, then they have access to all the results, but a lot of people are compelled because they want to see what the rest of the community is thinking. And so that's one of the interesting things to get the participation as well. But anyway, I don't know, Jason, if you wanted to run through or you had anything else you wanted to show the council about, an example or just kind of what kind of data we get from one of those, and unless the council has any other questions at this point.
I did.
Yeah.
Please.
I have questions too.
Okay, so my question is, it's only 6 in a year, and it can include Spanish. I'm wondering if that Spanish engagement counts towards the 6, or is it just count as one bilingual flash vote survey? And then my other question is, you talked about a 1-minute survey. Can you do something more in depth?
Great questions. When it comes to multilingual, we actually have flash vote in, I think, 18 languages at this point. The language, you can think of it as a language experience. So from start to finish, somebody signs up for flash vote in this case, let's say Spanish. The surveys come in Spanish. They're professionally translated, human translated. The results are then delivered in Spanish to them, shared back to them in Spanish. So it's end to end in that language or any languages that you want. So the language options, the multi-language experience is available. It's probably the only add-on, if you really think about it, that we have, aside from maybe employee surveys or something like that. And those are available at any time. Does that answer your language question?
No, I wanted to know if it counts towards the 6,
yes.
Or is
Yes.
it integrated as just one bilingual flash vote survey?
Yeah, I'm sorry, to clarify, every survey that goes out will be in English and Spanish. So you'll do 6 surveys, up to 6 surveys a year, and every single one of them will be in English and Spanish, or English and whatever other
Or any
languages.
other languages.
And then my second
Correct.
question was about the 1-minute survey. Can you do something more in depth?
Yes, great question. The 3 to 5 question format comes from 18 months of research that we did to see what is the ideal format to get the highest response rate and participation. Our job as survey experts and extensions of your team are to talk to you about the problem you're trying to solve or the outcome you're trying to achieve, and ideally design 3 to 5 questions that get you data to help solve that problem. If we find ourselves in a position where we absolutely need more questions, the way we have approached that is to offer additional questions as an option for someone to continue the survey. But I do want to put forth our model is very much built on the premise that it should not be difficult or time consuming for a resident to participate in decision making. So the onus is on us to keep those surveys short and easy to take so people can take them. And I can assure you, you can get a lot of data. We've had surveys handed to us and said, here's the survey we want to do. It's 20 questions. We get it down to 3, and you still get that much data, if not more. And it's all about how you engineer a survey to get you that data back and tell a story, as well as how you use all the filters that are built into the system.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That absolutely
Yeah, you're
answered my
welcome.
question.
Would you like to?
My question, thank you for the presentation, and I am excited about this because I think that the more way we can engage folks, the better, and especially as new technology comes out, I think it's important for us to take advantage of it. But I'm wondering
Yes.
if it's limited, like how do we, like our demographic, is it Arcata specific, or could like anybody sign up for this?
Yeah, great question. When the panel is available, so we kick off the project and now it's time to promote the panel. The panel is open. Technically, anybody can sign up for your panel. However, in signing up, we do require a few things. We require a name, we require an email address as a unique identifier. We ask then for an address, and 90% of people give an address, 90-ish% of people give an address, and they also validate their address. And by doing that, what it does is it allows us to invite the potential to geocode results to things like your city boundary and look at all locals who answered your survey only, or to divide it up into districts and look at how the districts answered. We've even used GIS map layers in that way and the address metric to look at a project specifically. Let's say it's a park and there are people who are within a mile of the park and people who live outside of a mile of a park. We've used that to say, is it the neighbors who feel a certain way, and is that way different than everybody else, or is it the same? So the address is a key input there when people join the panel that allows us to include them as a resident, as a member of a district, or filter data as we want. Few other metrics or things that are asked there: do you rent or do you own? Are you a part-time resident, full-time resident? We have those filters in there that allow you to look at the data in different ways. Age demographics, so we ask for a year of birth, not a birthday, but a year of birth. And it's a good time to mention too that when people sign up for Flash Vote, their data is with us. So we have a policy, no, we only work with public agencies, no spam, no selling. We don't use data for anything. And we've actually paid money in lawsuits to not provide data. We don't do that. Okay. We honor data to California Protection Act, Data Protection Act standards, all the way up to almost GDPR level. That said, the city itself also will never see individuals in the panel. You'll see the makeup of your community. You'll see the age distribution. You'll maybe even see the district distribution. And in that way, you can also kind of try and target certain pockets, get them to participate more. But ideally, that's what brings that kind of safe environment and that anonymized kind of third party view, which people really like and embrace. And like Merritt said, everybody at the close of a survey after 2 days gets the access to the survey. It's a public record. It's online. It's a web page. I can show you surveys from 2013 that are still live online. Seeing those results allows them to say, well, I thought this, what did the community say? And it's a really neat way to help kind of bring the community into how decisions are made oftentimes, and how they should be made with the kind of perspective of what does the whole community think. And it also, to Merritt's point, drives a little bit of FOMO. You want to see what the results are, so you're going to want to take that survey. So that's really how that works. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
And Sarah?
It also answered my question. And so,
What was
yeah,
it? I'm curious.
I was just going to ask, what data do you guys gather and how is it used and protected? And you very much answered that. And the only other thing I would just add for staff is that, this sounds very interesting to me. I think that, being able to use technology as a tool to gather more information is always the way to go. And we are kind of in a new era, and the old-fashioned stuff works really well, but trying something new is a great idea too. And so I would just like to see, physically, because I like to have something in front of me to read and mull over, just of price and proposal and what, kind of we get for what we're paying for. And yes, 6 surveys, but how is that laid out, and how does that work with staff and all of that kind of general stuff?
Yeah, and thanks. I'd be happy to bring that back when we bring a proposal. We bring the proposal forward in the contract in the next fiscal year. And I'll just point out one of the interesting things too, as I was going through this, thinking if it would be useful for the city. They have a library of other surveys, and it was really interesting to run through some of those with Jason and Kevin, who's one of the co-owners of the company. But they've created so many surveys. It was just interesting to see what those survey questions were for other communities, because a lot of cities are facing the same challenges, and then to look at their results before we even do it, it's like, oh, that makes total sense. So, again, this is something that we can try. Are we committed to do it forever? No, but it's one other tool that I think might be useful to get better public participation. And so we're not making a decision tonight, but I think it's something that we'll consider trying in the coming fiscal year.
So I appreciate everybody and their comments and also the presentation. And I'm really happy that it's only a minute survey, because often you get a call and they'll say, it's only going to take 5 minutes of your time, and you think, oh my gosh, I'm just going out the door. I don't want to take this survey. But with a minute, you can do a lot in a minute. It's pretty surprising.
And I didn't respond to Councilmember Matthews. Typical polling, like for Measure H, be between $30,000 and $40,000, and so the price for flash vote is somewhere between 12 and 13. So you can get a lot more data for a lower cost than traditional surveying. So
Could I ask one more question?
yeah,
Of course.
I was just curious. I'm super excited about it, and I actually knew the answer about the 1 minute survey. I just wanted to make sure that the public understood why it was only to 1 minute. Is there an opportunity to upgrade, say, from 6 if we are so excited about it and we want to add one more project to it because it's worked so well?
Yeah, I can answer that. If you generate need and justification to do a 7th or even 8th survey in a year, as Kevin likes to say, we give you the golden high five for making it to 8. The reality of 6 comes down to just best practices of how often decisions are made. Our goal in really setting a stage that this is not a toy. It's really meant to kind of help with initiatives and outcomes and decisions. But we do have, I think the most anybody's ever done is 8. But to Merritt's point, the cost, our goal in creating Flash Vote was in looking at the cost of a traditional scientific survey, as long as they are, as difficult as they are to get completed, oftentimes over the phone, and how seldom they get done. How can we look more at almost the model of an emergency alert system? You don't put an emergency alert system in place when you have an emergency. You put it in place ahead of time, knowing an emergency might happen. So let's prepare for this. Input is not that different. You're going to want input on things that come up. You're going to have things that come up where you're going to say, what does the community think about this? The whole community, not just the people that were coming to us, the whole community. When those times come up, because we build a panel and offer that opportunity for people to get involved, and it's always open, and because they're signing up without a topic, we remove that bias to the topic, that self-selection to the topic, and they're signing up for any survey. Maybe it's about a dog park that might open, maybe it's about street sidewalk repair. Like, you don't know what it's about, so you sign up just with a goal of helping the community, and now all those people are in that panel standing by to help whenever you need. One of our customers, Placer County, has over 5,000 people in their panel that they've built over the last 7 years, I think, 8 years. And in 48 hours on any topic, they get on average at least 2,500 residents telling them what they think on any topic in 48 hours. That's what you build for yourself when you commit to this channel. You promote it to your entire community and say, this is how we want to listen for the answer, not to you, because it's important to listen to you, but listening for a solution is a little bit different type of listening. So go here, participate, so you can help be one of those people who gives us input on how we should make that decision to your best interest and to your benefit most. And that's kind of the model and how it really works in its form.
So I assume some are yes and no answers, and that some of them may have allowed somebody to make a comment or two.
Yeah, as we engineer, there are very few actually that are yes and no questions.
Okay.
Yes and no questions are sometimes dangerous because they can be weaponized. Like, we all said yes to this. Why aren't you going to do it? That's not our intention. Our intention here is not a census where everybody's casting, despite vote being in the name. I get it. It's not that. Where our questions succeed the most is in understanding mostly prioritizations and trade-offs. So in local government, we will ask things like first baseline questions. How much do you even care? Take a survey about, let's say, backyard chickens, which we've done quite a few times. Should people have them? Should they have them? Do they even care? So the first questions are usually a baseline question. Before reading this, how much did you know about whether they were allowed in Arcata, let's say? And we have a few choices for them to pick. And then it's, how much do you care about whether you could raise backyard chickens? Is this even something a lot of people care about? Now, because people signed up for Flash Vote before they knew the topic, you're going to get people who care about chickens and who don't care about chickens, because they didn't take it because it's a chicken survey. They took it because they want to help. Which is great. That's what the panel gets you. That's the scientific nature, the representative nature of the data. Then we get into things like, what would be your concerns if they were allowed? And what would be, how would we address these concerns? What would be the best approaches from this list to address these concerns? So it's about understanding trade-offs, prioritizations, preferences, and really digging into something. When you identify something as something the community cares about, you then have to unpack it. Like, if public safety comes up in an annual survey and you got a 3 out of 5, what does that mean? Like, is it people feeling unsafe because there's not enough streetlights? Is it people feeling unsafe because they're afraid their house will get broken into, or their car will get broken into, or they get physically assaulted? Like, what does that actually mean? It might not be a police problem. It might be a public works problem. Like, you never really know until you start asking questions that get to the root of the solution. And you can't get to the solution until you identify the problem. So that's where we come in and consult, almost like a decision management team for you, to go, what are you trying to decide? How can we get you data to help with that decision? And then how can we build questions that are fair to both sides, interesting to all sides of it, and will give you actual data to make you understand, well, if we do this, more people want this than this. So let's go with that. That kind of thing, if that helps in the engineering side.
So I'm making an assumption you do some kind of a synopsis, and so that we don't have to look at 2,500 answers.
Oh, yes. The report that goes out at the end of the survey, after 48 hours, you get a copy of it. Everybody gets a copy of it. I can flash one up on the screen just so you can see what they look like, and forward you links. Here's an example. I'll bring up, we mentioned transportation. Here's an example for transportation needs and priorities. You'll always see how many people were in the panel. So in this case, it was 850. 503 took this particular survey in 2 days. So that was 59% completion. This one was interesting because we had 128 others. So that means 128 additional people took it when it was live. They weren't in the panel, but they saw the topic and they took it because of the topic. And that usually indicates it's a hot topic, an interesting topic, or something that might spark a little controversy sometimes. So we separate out the others because they knew the topic and they usually have, an intention in participating. But then you have your filters, which you can look at it from different owner, residency, age, gender, city quadrants, member panel, etc. You get to, and all of those are configured to your city preferences. In the last 12 months, which of the following have you done? So understanding from a transportation perspective, which of these things are the biggest, most used forms of transportation across all the ones that people could use in the town. This is such a better format than an annual survey that divides all of these into their own section and assumes that people care about each one of those sections equally, which they don't. So that data always tends up being a little flawed in that way, because you might get a low score on biking because you didn't survey enough people who bike, right? So prioritizations, what are the main reasons why you don't walk or run more often? So in this case, I think they were looking at a potential to invest in more running trails and more kind of outdoor commuter areas that were like for physical fitness, not for cars. So distance is far, terrain is hilly. Now you did mention comments. A lot of times a question will have an other, and people have the opportunity to put in comments. We filter them for profanity and for the 4 or 7 different things that you can't say because they're illegal. And we're smart about that. We've been doing it a long time. They're all anonymized. And then we always say, don't count comments. If there's anything you take away from everything we're saying tonight, you don't count comments. So when it comes to engagement, you're either getting comments or looking at percentage feedback, looking at percentage values. We're the percentage values part of that. One of the main reasons you don't bike or ride, so understanding what's keeping people from doing the activity. How would you spend $1 across the following priorities? Repair streets and potholes, add new car lanes, add bike lanes. So we may have been looking whether or not bike lanes would make the community happy. Maybe you had 3 people at a council meeting being, we need bike lanes, we need bike lanes. And you're like, do we? I don't know. Let's ask the community. And we do a survey and maybe we find out, people want the potholes fixed before they want bike lanes. So these are ways that we can really find out and reach cast a wider net of people who both care and don't care about the topic, but have all chipped in for the solution, from an investment perspective.
Well, I appreciate it, and thank you so much for your presentation. I think it's really valuable, and we could see what would happen at the end. So thank you. And would you like to
Very
conclude
welcome.
this, or how would you?
No,
like
I think I got the feedback that I need from the council, and it looks like something that we'll consider trying in the next fiscal year. Thank you, Jason.
So thank you.
Very welcome. Thank you for the opportunity.
So the next item on our agenda is other staff reports, and do we have other staff reports this evening?
No other staff reports.
No? Okay, thank you. We'll go on to oral and written communications. It's early, time limited. The City Council values your comments. The public comment period allows people to address the council on matters not on the agenda. This early section of public comment is limited to 15 minutes, and the speakers are limited to 2 minutes each. If you prefer to have a full 3 minutes of the time for your public comment, this item is continued at the end of the meeting under item number 12, where speakers are granted 3 minutes. Please know that pursuant to the Brown Act, the council cannot discuss or take action on items not listed on the agenda. The council may respond to statements. There will also be time to provide public comment and specific to each item on this agenda. So thank you. So from there, we'll go into public comment. So we thank you for coming forward and speaking. Good evening.
Hi, I'm Dico. I'm here to ask for support of the Sister City project with Arcata and Gaza City. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Hi, I'm Sean. I'm here to also speak on behalf of the Sister City with Gaza City. I wanted to update you guys on some things that we've just recently done. In the past week, we raised about $5,000 to feed children in Gaza City this Friday for Eid al-Adha. So it's a very sacred day for Muslims, and because of our efforts with the Sister City Project, many children will be able to have food that they may not otherwise have been able to have, and activities there. So we're happy to have been able to do that in such a short period of time, and just really want to encourage you guys to get engaged with what we're up to. Come to the Palestine Talking Corner, check out what we're doing. We have a monthly bike ride, 3 o'clock. Sunday, the last Sunday of the month, and just in solidarity of Palestine, and look, we can do a lot with the Sister City. Camawapa in Nicaragua has been very successful for the community. It's brought a lot of people together, and we can really be part of the solution here in Arcata. And this latest fundraiser is an example of that. We can actually make a material difference in the lives of Palestinians during this very desperate time. And in fact, we actually have a moral duty to do so, to do what we can to stop genocide. And so, let's not equivocate anymore. I commend you guys for wanting to engage with the community. I want to believe you guys, are also interested in engaging more with us. And this survey is not, when there was a comment about it, not hearing as much from the noisy people. Looking around, I'm looking who else is noisy around here. But anyway, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
A question before we get started. I wanted to speak a little bit about the flash. Was it flash voting? Could I speak twice? One about that and this. So it's got to be all in my 2 minutes. Okay.
You could do it all in your 2 minutes, or you could speak in the end of the council meeting on another topic. So thank you.
Okay.
Or actually, you're supposed to only speak once.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Hi, I'm Jennifer Knight. Very quickly, I have a P.O. box in Arcata, but I don't live in Arcata. I live in West Haven. And that's something to think about, because if I give them my street address where I live, I may not show up because I can't get mail there. So there is something about addresses that you might want to consider. Okay, now, hi, I'm Jennifer Knight, and I live in West Haven, but I have worked in Arcata. I shop in Arcata. I was on the Northern Humboldt Unified School District Board trustee. I was a trustee, so I've been involved in the schools. So I am very much, and I love Arcata. And I was at the farmer's market, and I went to the talking corner. And so I decided I'd come tonight to talk about my support for the sister city for Gaza. And I wanted to thank you all for on March 6, 2024, you voted for the ceasefire resolution, and I think the communities behind this, you voted for it, so I think the sister city is logical. And I wanted to jump on and say there's a precedent. We have a sister city with Camoapa, Nicaragua, and if you have not seen that video that's posted on your city website about the sister city, it is totally worth a look. And I want to read something that's on that video that really inspired me. The idea of a sister city in terms of fostering peace, not just with Nicaragua, but any other country, is to create human connection. People can't make war on people they know. The essential thing about making war is to dehumanize the people you are fighting against, so that you make them into something non-human, because otherwise it would be murder. This is on our website. We believe this. And so I want to refrain from the zero-sum thinking. Just because we support Gaza doesn't mean we wouldn't support a sister city with Tel Aviv. Or it doesn't mean we wouldn't support a sister city with Cairo, right? Or in El Salvador, San Salvador, right? And so I'm running out of town. I just think this would foster peace. I have some olive oil from Palestine. They could sell this at Plaza. There's good reasons to have a sister city.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Sorry I had to be so fast.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak this evening during early oral communications? Is there anyone on Zoom that would like to speak?
Yes, we have some hands raised.
Thank you.
Dan, please go ahead.
Hi. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Hey, I'm Dan Shaheen. I wanted to say thank you to this council for always being willing to listen to the people that you represent. I'm so encouraged by your excitement about that Zoom vote deal, because I know one of the topics that we could bring up, in fact, there's two. One could be support for the sister city project between Arcata and Gaza City, which I wholeheartedly recommend and would hope that you folks can get behind. The other would be another project about writing a letter to CalPERS, the organization that controls retirement funds for California state employees, asking them to divest from a short list of companies that have been documented to be contributing to the ongoing tragedy in Gaza. So this is a such a minor effort. And of you all, I know Sarah Schaefer has already agreed to do so. If she hasn't already sent it, I heard she agreed. And I've sent emails to all of you. And I would encourage anyone listening to this sound of my voice to write to the city council members and encourage them to support divestment, CalPERS divestment from any company that supports any country that is actively committing war crimes, and support upholding the U.S. Leahy laws, which forbid U.S. tax dollars being spent in areas that are known war crimes being committed. This is not a controversial issue, folks. You guys are all smart enough and compassionate.
Thank you so much for your comments. Appreciate them. Do we have anyone else on Zoom?
Yes, we do.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Free Palestine, please go ahead.
My name's Alice Finan. I'm from Blue Lake. I work in Arcata. I come to the city council meeting tonight to earnestly ask, what are we doing here? How has it been over 600 days of watching children, mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, elders, animals, and sacred land be blown up and sacrificed by the genocidal Israeli regime? Here we are in this very meeting recognizing World Oceans Day. What about the Mediterranean Sea, where Israel is polluting the waters with thousands of tons of toxic debris, making any enjoyment or hope of getting food by Palestinians incredibly dangerous? That is, if they are not shot or bombed by Israel. We are here recognizing Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month. What about Palestinians with Alzheimer's who get no medicine because Israel is blocking it? What about all of the children shot in the head or who have head wounds from being crushed in the rubble of their homes by Israeli bombs paid for by our tax dollars? Please, please, please demand CalPERS divest in any Israeli companies. I'd also like to ask you to see the intersectionality of our queer community here and our queer community in Palestine. Queer Palestinians are beloved just like our queer community here. Just like we must uplift, honor, and protect our queers here, we must uplift, honor, and protect our queers in Palestine. They need protection from Israel. There is no greater threat to their safety than Israel. If you fly a gay flag here in front of our city hall, it makes no sense that you would not be doing everything you can for queers in Palestine. Divest from Israel, learn about pinkwashing, take an anti-Palestinian racism training so that you can identify and refute the hateful and racist propaganda spewed by Zionists that is actively harming Palestinians who are surviving a genocide.
Thank you very much for your comments. I appreciate it. And do we have another Zoom person?
Yes, we do. Kevin, please go ahead. Kevin Klein, please go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hello, council members. Mayor. On June 18th, you'll vote on using community development block grant funds to help Danco purchase the Rogers Garage site from the Johnson's Corporation. I and many others came a few weeks ago to share our concerns, all of which I still have. And tonight, I want to share just a few of the questions that have been keeping me up at night since learning about this project. First is, why are we using taxpayer dollars on this contaminated site when block grant funds could be directed elsewhere? CDBG funding can be used for lots of things, I understand, and is a toxic site next to a school really our best option? On a similar note, why does it appear that we're going to use taxpayer money to help Danco Communities company buy this property? They're pretty successful. Perhaps they don't need our tax money more than other sources or other recipients. And I find myself earnestly wondering and worrying if you, the council members, and Mayor Stillman are taking this seriously. With all due respect, truly, big projects are complicated. I'm just a regular citizen, and it's hard to know if we are being heard. It's significant because the most difficult question plaguing me is what I'm going to do if this project does begin and my neighborhood and my home is potentially contaminated due to that. I'm worried, and I'm worried that every dollar committed now makes it harder for you to make better choices later. So please commit to proper environmental review, consider other options, and ask yourselves, can we really justify this risk with a clear conscience? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have another speaker?
Yes, we do. Ellen, please go ahead.
Hi, City Council. I am here to ask you once again to send the letter to CalPERS. Sarah, thank you for leading the way. It is day 607 of this Holocaust. Today, at least 60 Palestinians were killed in Gaza. There was an overnight airstrike from Israel on the school/shelter in Khan Yunis, which killed at least 18 Palestinians, including children. I could go on and on and on, but you already know everything I'm going to say. You are invested in CalPERS, which is invested in genocide. Your constituents do not want that. Please send those letters. As one of the noisy people, I keep coming back to these meetings and talking to you, not because I like it, I actually really hate it. But you aren't listening to me. We keep coming back because you ignore us. And I don't believe that you want to hear from more people. I just don't believe it. I think you want to not have to answer emails and be able to write off those of us who show up as just some noisy minority. We are all moms and dads and have families and jobs, and we show up because it's important, because you need to hear us, and yet you ignore us. And so we're going to keep showing up. And by the way, I don't know if you've noticed, but I've noticed for the sister city in Gaza and for this CalPERS letter, I've seen new people come every single meeting to ask you to do this. It's not just the same people. This is very popular. Why are you ignoring such a popular? I mean, we've been coming to you for 21 months, and we will keep coming to you, and we will keep bringing this up. Please send those letters to CalPERS. Confirm to all of us that have been asking you that you have sent those letters.
Thank you very much. So I wanted to ask if we met our 15 minutes.
Yeah, we're at 14, so you could take one more, or we could go on with the
Or you
agenda.
could take, is there another speaker online?
There's several.
Let's take one more, and then that'll conclude our 15 minutes. Thank you.
Shannon, please go ahead.
Hi, I'll be quick. First of all, Sister City, please do it. And please take advantage of any means you can. You need to poll the public to find that there's wide support for it. CalPERS, boycott, divest, and sanction Israel. Please do it. Again, take advantage of whatever poll you need to. The community is widely in favor of these things. And Merritt, I emailed you today and the city council members. I just want to say that noisy is an incredibly derogatory term to use to people that take their time to attend your meetings regularly. You should have the utmost respect for people like the people here in that room right now and that are calling here today. As Ellen said, we have kids, we have lives, okay? We don't just do this to bother you. So I would really refrain from using rhetoric like noisy about people that consistently attend council meetings. And third, I just wanted to remind all of you council members that there's something called a separation of church and state. And I really want you all to adhere to that. Whatever you choose to worship, whatever book you believe in, whatever you do in your personal life should have no inclination or implication in your professional life. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And that concludes early communications. So we'll go on to the consent calendar. All matters on the consent calendar are considered to be routine by the City Council and are enacted in one motion. There is no separate discussion on any of these items. If the discussion is required, that item is removed from the consent calendar and considered separately. At the end of the reading of the consent calendar, council members may request that an item be removed for separate discussion. Members of the public may comment on any item remaining on the consent calendar in the comment period before the vote. A, approve waiving, approval to waive reading of text and consent to read by title only for any ordinance on this agenda. B, approve the minutes of the City Council special meeting of May 14th, 2025. C, approve the minutes of the City Council special meeting, May 22nd, 2025. D, approve the minutes of the City Council meeting of May 21st, 2025. E, biweekly report on disbursements. F, adopt ordinance number 1578, an ordinance of the City Council of the City amending Chapter 3, Water of Title 7, Public Works of the Arcata Municipal Code. G, adopt ordinance number 1579, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Arcata adding Article 11 to Chapter 4, Article 11 to Title 4, Chapter 2, making it unlawful for any person in the city to sell, offer, distribute, or provide nitrous oxide to any person. H, adopt resolution number 245-50, approving the fiscal year 2025-26 annual report on Measure A special tax for all non-tax exempt parcels and directing that said fee be collected through the parcel tax rolls of the fiscal year 2025-2026. I, approve the purchase of in-car cameras for the police vehicles, including implementation, hardware, and a 5-year subscription service for Motorola in the amount of $164,934, and authorize the city manager to execute all applicable documents. J, approve an amendment to the contract for Isaac Sustainable Transportation Infrastructure, STI, Improvement Project Phase 2 with RAO Construction Company, Inc., in the amount of $83,793, and authorize the city manager to execute all applicable documents. K, approve sponsorship in the amount of the equivalent to the Plaza event fee of $2,575 for the Arcata Chamber of Commerce 4th of July Jubilee to be held on the Arcata Plaza on July 4th, 2025. Is there any item on the agenda the council would like to remove?
I need to recuse myself from item K, please.
And I would like to remove item E.
I don't want to remove it. I just want to recuse myself.
And I'm sorry, you wanted G too?
No.
E?
I just need to recuse myself.
Yes, I'm
Yeah, we don't have to pull it. I just need to.
okay. Let me understand. No, that's not true.
Councilmember Matthews could abstain from the vote if she chose on that. Or did you?
My understanding was that we would have to remove an item if someone was abstaining, since the consent calendar is adopted in one motion.
And that's my understanding too, because I just spoke to the city clerk about that before the meeting began. So I would like to then see if the council would approve A through K with the removal of E and K from the consent calendar. Is there a motion for that?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in, okay, is there any public comment? See no one jumping up. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 So we have item E, biweekly reports on disbursements. Do we have a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those that decline, me, no. So we'll go on to approve sponsorship and an amount equivalent to the Plaza event fees for $2,575 for the Arcata Chamber of Commerce 4th of July Jubilee to be held in the Arcata Plaza on July 4th, 2025. Is there any motion on this?
So moved.
Second?
I will second.
Any public comment? Okay, all those in
I'm
favor
sorry.
signify by saying.
I didn't hear what the motion was for that.
I
To
read the whole,
approve
I
item
read the
K.
whole thing, and she moved it. She moved to approve it. She seconded it,
Okay, thank you.
and now I'm calling for us to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed?
And I'll abstain. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And with that, we will move on to old business and consider approving an amendment to the bike share program contract with Tandem Mobility LLC for 2 additional stations in the city limits for an added amount not to exceed $20,000 per year for the program. May we have a staff report, please?
Yes, good evening, Mayor, council members, and the members of the public here. So the item in front of you is contract amendment with Tandem Mobility for our bike share program, but I just want to take this opportunity to give you a quick update on our bike share program so you know what we are doing with our bike share program. So before I start that, I just want to give you maybe quick background of where this program started. So originally our bike share program started in 2017 with Zaxter, a Zaxter company, and at that time we partnered with Cal Poly Humboldt, at that time Humboldt State, City of Arcata, and Co-op partnered and had 6 different stations throughout the city. It was funded by city funds, Cal Poly funds, and from Co-op. We had stations at the Plaza, at the Transit Center, 2 stations at Cal Poly Humboldt, 1 at Co-op in Arcata, and 1 at Co-op in Eureka. And that was a pretty successful program. We were getting a lot of ridership. However, in 2020, COVID happened, and nobody wanted to use the bike, so we were not able to implement that program, and Zaxter business was not doing good. However, as a city of Arcata, being a bike-friendly business and bike-friendly city, we wanted to continue the program. So in 2021, we went through an RFP process, and we ended up hiring Tandem Mobility to run the program. At that time, because of the cost, Co-op was not able to participate in the program. However, City of Arcata and Cal Poly Humboldt, 50-50, paying from their cost share, we were able to start the program with 4 stations. I'll just show you the location where the 4 stations are. So this is the City of Arcata map. All the lines you see, yellow, green, and different colors, are all our bike lanes. There are Class 1, Class 2, Class 3, and there are also forest trails. These are the 2 stations through our new program, Tandem Mobility, we have at the Plaza. Only at the Plaza, not at the Transit, because we did not have funding. And these were the 2 stations at the Cal Poly Humboldt. However, in 2022, we were very fortunate, and we were able to have a funded project through Affordable Housing Sustainable Transportation Program at the Sorrel Place. They were able to pitch some money to add more stations. So with that project, we were able to add a station right at their project at the 7th Street and I, and the other one at the Shea Park, which is close to our trails to get more use. At the same time, there was one more project at the end of 30th Street by Yurok Indian Housing Authority. From that project, we were able to add 2 more stations. One at the project site and one at near the bus stop at the Valley West. So currently we have 8 stations at different locations, and we have 40 bikes, which is running pretty well, I would say. I will show the stats in the next slides, but I just want to maybe answer your question that you may ask, what is the future plan for this? So we do have plan to expand this, and there are reasons for that. As you can see, most of the locations are in the core downtown and not in the outskirts. So we want to add 2 at the Cal Poly Humboldt Housing Project. I cannot see the name properly, but I'll try. Hanhurhu Maulik Housing Project at Cal Poly. They are adding 2 stations there. So this contract amendment is for that station, and we are not paying. Cal Poly is paying, but since we have the contract with Tandem Mobility, we are doing a contract amendment, and they will be paying for this. You'll see 3 more stations in future. We want to add 1 here on the west side, 1 on the east side, here at the Sunnybury area, and this is at the end of 11th Street, and 1 at the Marsh. So this is within the city, and there should be 1 more here. There you go, here in the Alder Grove. And there is a reason for that, because in future there will be a trail, Class 1 trail here, right next to it, running along here, coming all along here, and then connecting to our Humboldt Bay Trail here. So it will be connected, so that's why it's a strategic location for bike share, so people could commute or use the bike share location. Similarly for this location. And currently, we are working with City of Eureka and trying to convince them to have stations in Eureka. So when the Bay Trail is completed from Arcata to Eureka, people will be able to enjoy our bike share, and they will be commute from Arcata to Eureka and Eureka to Arcata. So that is the plan. And here's the quick cost, how much we pay for the program. Cost of each bike is $1,800. We have five bikes at each stations. As you can see, combination of Cal Poly Humboldt, City of Arcata, which is we get funding through HCOG for our portion of bike trail, and then we have 2 projects. But this project had a timeline. This project will be expired, and this funding through these projects through Affordable Housing Sustainable Communities Grant would be expiring end of 2026. So we are in process of applying grant application. I believe we will be getting that grant maybe hopefully tomorrow, and we will be able to continue this program for 3 more years. So we are very excited about that. And this is the stats, as you can see, though, definitely ridership is increasing in the last 4 years. Definitely, we have seen a growth. There's a big jump from year to year because we added more stations. From 23 to 24, there's not a big difference, but there's increase. For early 2025, we have seen already increase, I would say, and by the end of the year, we'll be exceeding this. More than 2% will be more than maybe 20% this year, because we already have 50% by the end of the May. So June, July, August are the best months for the bike share because of the summer and the sun is out, so we will be increasing our ridership. So I'm going to pause here and see if you have any questions or query for me on this program.
And the council, would you like to explore this and ask questions?
I just have one.
Yes, please.
You answered it, but I will. I was going to bring up that I'm excited about trying to connect Eureka and Arcata on the Bay Trail. So I guess it's up to us to work on all our friends on the Eureka City Council to convince them also that this could be a fun idea.
And I was actually talking to the gentleman that maintains the bikes, Wild Trail Toolers, and his shop is actually in Eureka, in Old Town, and he was like, gosh, they got to get them in Eureka, because then it would be way easier, and I could just pick them up and fix them and all that stuff. So it would be really nice to connect with Eureka, too, once that trail's open, and really looking forward to that. You can see them putting down the pavement every day.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I had a question. If I'm understanding this correctly, the Humboldt Bay Trail Edition money would be coming from the county for that. So other jurisdictions would put money, like ourselves in Eureka, but it actually comes from another pot of money, if you will, or percentage of it. Is that correct?
The way currently it works, right now, the existing program, when we say City of Arcata, we are applying for the grant, so it's not coming from the general fund or any of our funds. It's coming through HCOG. We are applying for that funding, and we get that funding, and we use that. Similarly, once the trail is complete and Eureka wants to install it, they can also apply for the similar grant, and I believe there's a 100% success rate. If you apply for that grant, you will get that grant. So they should be applying for that, and they will get the funding for that. Yeah. On the other way, we can do that as a City of Arcata. We could be champion and apply for them and get the money and put the stations there and have some sort of an agreement with them. Hey, let's do this. We want to do this, and we can push it.
That might be a good idea.
Thank you.
So, your comments? Okay, well, thank you for the presentation. I know it's an exciting program that we've had, and it's great to see that we've had it for a while, because if you travel elsewhere in the world, you'll see how many bikes there are that you can take. So thank you, and I appreciate that. If there's no more questions, we can move on.
Yeah, definitely you could take
So is
action
there
on this.
public
But
comment?
I have last slide here for you.
Okay.
For you all, in the sense, we also have 3 bike and ped counters along our bike trail, along our Humboldt Bay Trail, if you want to call it, and these are 3 locations. One is near the Shea Park, other is at the right just south of Samoa. It's a piece of wood you will see when you walk in the trail, you will see it, and one is right next to our courtyard. We've been collecting the data for last 7 to 8 years. And last time when I did this update at the council meeting, it was maybe a few years ago, and that this number below, it's more than a million. It was around 600,000. And I told you at that time, I said, when it's a million, I'll come back and just show you the numbers. So the combined number of bike and ped using those 3 stations, the collective number is more than a million as of today, or like not today, but it's more than a million now. So I think it's a very big milestone that we have reached in this 7 years after installing the trails. I think
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So now we'll take public comment. Thank you for moving forward. No.
Hi, my name's Joanne McGarry, and as you see, I came here today on my new e-bike that I am enjoying riding. What I'm not enjoying, and what I would just like to say about this bike share program, is promoting opportunities for people to rent a bike, so to speak, at these different locations is great. One of the things you have to have is a smartphone to be able to do it. So, it's like a credit card based type thing. So there's an equity issue I would just like to suggest that we look into. There may be a phone number, I just don't know how reasonable it is answered on certain hours of the day. But getting back to people who already have their own bikes, I am discovering how difficult it is for me to feel safe parking my bikes at destinations when I want to use my bike, but I don't feel safe in some locations in the city to leave it, even if it's locked, because anecdotally, I've talked to other people, seats are taken, other items are taken off the handrails. What we really need to do for the future is have opportunities for people to, who don't have bikes to have a bike to take around town like this system has, but also for people who have bikes. And I can't park my bike outside of my apartment. I have to park it inside my living space right now. So we really have to have a much fuller holistic look about bicycle opportunities for the community. I'm all in favor of bike shares. I want us to be the Amsterdam of California in that regard. But you got to take care of the people who have their own bikes and their own places to live and their security with their bikes and safe places to park them when they get to the destination. So, if I had to rent a bike, I'd park it and not feel obligated to be concerned about it disappearing, so to speak. But I'm really concerned about my bike disappearing. I had a bike stolen in Arcata a few years ago, and it was very, very painful situation. So we really got to do better holistically in looking at the whole bike situation. Not just good bike trails, but safe parking, secure parking, places where you live that you can have your bike.
Thank you. And also, where you live, they should have bicycle parking available for you. That's one of the requirements the city has, that apartment buildings, et cetera, has to have bicycle parking. So there was, you were interested in speaking at this time on this item? Okay, thank you. So is anyone else on Zoom that would like to speak on this item?
There are no hands on Zoom.
None? So thank you. Well, we'll move on. I would like to take a quick break.
Do we have action on that item?
Move it.
Oh,
So I'll make a motion to approve an amendment to the bike share program contract with Tandem Mobility LLC for 2 additional stations in the city limits for an added amount not to exceed $20,000 per program year.
I second.
okay, it's moved and seconded. All those in
May
favor?
I interrupt?
I'm sorry.
I'm just catching part of the recommended council action to authorize the city manager to execute the applicable documents.
I will also authorize the city manager to execute all applicable documents.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. You continue to second that?
I continue to second that.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Favors?
Aye.
Those not? Okay, it passes, and I would like to take a quick break. So I appreciate the 5-minute break, and I thank you very much. So now we'll go on to new business. We're appointing a new member to the Board of Appeals. Do we have a motion on this? Well, I can go on. We interviewed a gentleman to be appointed to the Board of Appeals, and so with that, the council needs to take action on it, and his name was Stan Elcott. So do we have a motion to support him?
So I'll make a motion to approve Stan Elcock to the Board of Appeals.
Thank you. Is there a second?
A term that does not expire, if I'm correct.
I will second that. And yes, he seemed very qualified and knows all about engineering and building, and I think that's what you need for this. So I support that as well and second your motion.
Thank you very much, and it's very true that he does. Is there anyone that would like to speak on this item? Seeing no one, does the council want to move forward? And all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries. Now we'll go on to oral and written communications continued. The City Council values your comments. The public comment period allows people to address the council on matters not on the agenda. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each, and please know that pursuant to the Brown Act, the council cannot discuss or take action on items not listed on the agenda. The council may respond to statements. So would you please come forward to speak for the period? Thank you.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. My name is JD Garza Valencia. I am the chair for the board of the Chamber of Commerce, and I want to first and foremost apologize for my tardiness, but I also wanted to use this time to express appreciation on behalf of the board of directors for the Arcata Chamber of Commerce for the proclamation of June 8th to 14th being Oysterfest Week. This is a proclamation that is really a consideration to Arcata's future and the future of Humboldt County by way of economic impact and tourism. The efforts of the Chamber of Commerce crew here in Arcata are truly shining in everything that they are doing. The efforts to start to incorporate a wild 5K to happen in the coming weeks, as well as an event, Oysterfest, being one that I plan to attend and that I think I've gotten commitment from my parents for many years to come. They'll be traveling up from the Central Valley, and even my in-laws will be here next weekend. So it's not just a community affair, it's a family affair, and I want to express appreciation to our city and our council members for supporting this proclamation. I also saw the proclamation for Pride Month being June 2025 being Pride Month, and as a member of the LGBTQIA+ community, I want to express my deepest appreciation for the support that you're showing to our community. Thank you all so much for this.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good evening. I am here to strongly oppose to the Arcata-Gaza sister city proposal. Now that I said that, you might remember me from last week, the last meeting. I'm 92 years old. I was alive during World War II and the Holocaust, plus history, not taught anymore. And in spite of what some people would have you believe, the Holocaust did really happen. But I'm sorry to say, in 10 or 15 years, there will be no one alive who will have been alive at that time, including me. So that piece of history may not be as I know it to be. People with a different agenda may try to erase what really happened. I say this because all of us were alive on October 7, 2023. We do not all have the same recollection of what happened, and it was less than 2 years ago. It was the worst slaughter of the Jewish people since the Holocaust, and this massacre came from Gaza, which is the home of Hamas, a globally recognized terrorist organization, globally, not just in the USA. This was not just a slaughter, it was a hateful, truly evil crime against unarmed citizens. And Hamas has sworn to do it again and again and again until every last Israeli is dead. That is genocide. And it started a war. Why would my beautiful city of Arcata want to reward a terrorist city who would commit such hideous crimes? Why would they reward them with sisterhood? What possible agenda would support this? This resolution does nothing to even remotely contribute towards peace in that area. It has only divided my beautiful Arcata. I am heartbroken by what I see happening in Arcata. Good people who have no reason to hate Jews have listened to so much propaganda and lies. They are becoming Jew haters too. Why would you hate Jews? These are your neighbors, people you work with, people you see every day, and all of a sudden, because of what someone else says, you become an anti-Semite. And that's just what it is, pure and simple. So many of these good people do not even know anything about Jews, only what someone else tells them. So please, don't just listen to me. Watch David Swimmer. He used to be on Friends, on whatever you get your news. Watch Douglas Murphy. He's not even Jewish. He's a correspondent to the Middle East. Watch CBN, which is Christian Broadcasting Network. Something watch that's not anti-Jewish rhetoric. Please. I want to reiterate, I strongly object to the Arcata, Gaza City becoming a sister city, and we should not be taking sides with a terrorist city in a war zone.
Thank you so very much for your comments. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Our next speaker, please.
See you next time.
May I have some more water?
My name's Jody, and I live in Arcata. I'm here once again to speak about my opposition to making Gaza City a sister city to Arcata. At the last City Council meeting on May 21st, at least 4 speakers stood here and on Zoom and stated that 14,000 babies in Gaza would starve in 24 hours if they didn't receive aid, and said Israel was starving babies and committing genocide. That statement was a lie. Propaganda spread by a Hamas-supporting UN official. It was from a report on aid, and the true fact was that 14,000 children could die in 1 year, not 1 day, if aid was cut off. It also stated that there was enough aid left in Gaza now warehouses to last 8 months. But Hamas steals aid and starves Gazans to stoke their propaganda. I have yet to see any one of the people who spread anti-Israel rhetoric to come here tonight and admit their misleading untruth. They should correct the record and apologize for misleading the council and the public by not fact-checking before speaking. That lie has been deleted from that UN official very quietly. Spreading misinformation has consequences. During the last City Council meeting, 2 young Israeli embassy diplomats coming out of a special event were gunned down in cold blood in Washington, D.C. The gunman not only shot them, but went to them while they were on the ground and shot them again and again, just like the Hamas attack on October 7th, yelling, Allah Akbar, free Palestine, and I did this for Gaza. Then, a couple days later, Hamas spread the misinformation that the IDF shot and killed 30 people on the first day of the new aid distribution by the Gazan Humanitarian Foundation. Another propaganda lie. A day after that lie was published, an Islamic terrorist went to a mall walk for the hostages, a weekly event to advocate to remember them, mostly seniors and a Holocaust survivor. He then sprayed them with gas from a garden sprayer and set them on fire with Molotov cocktails in hand, just like Hamas did to innocent Israelis on October 7th. Is this what we want to bring to Arcata? I want my tax dollars to go to making Arcata a better place for all its residents, not adopt a terrorist city in a war zone on the other side of the world. What about our world here? What about taking care of anti-Semitism here? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my name's Joanne McGarry, and I think we still live in the land of the free and the home of the brave. And I want to talk about being free, being brave, and taking action to help humanity. Yesterday, I spoke at both the Board of Supervisors meetings and at the Eureka City Council meeting, and I'm going to speak to you tonight about something I'm very concerned about, and it's a humanitarian effort being made by one of the people I admire most in the world, Greta Thunberg. And if you don't know, she is one of 12 people on a small sailboat sailing in the Mediterranean Sea on their way to provide humanitarian aid to the children in Gaza by sea. And they're abiding by international law. They're flying under the British flag. They are on a human rights mission, a humanitarian mission. They have baby formula, they have flour, they have rice, they have some medicine. There's a doctor on board who's hoping to set up a children's hospital once they get there. I am wearing a little hummingbird on my hat, a little hummingbird pin I got, because I told everybody the story a while ago about the hummingbird who took little drops of water to put out the forest fire, and all the other animals were asking, why did you do that? And the hummingbird said, because I can, and because I'm doing my part. And this is what the 4 foot 10 inch tall Greta Thunberg is doing. She says, I have a platform for some reason, and it's my moral obligation to use it for the greater good. I would like for this City Council to consider a resolution in support of safe passage for these people on the Madeleine sailing boat so they can safely traverse the Mediterranean Sea, arrive to the shores, and safely distribute the humanitarian aid. There's a global movement going around asking everybody to speak up and protect. I went to Jared Huffman's office yesterday and asked the same thing of his people to ask him to support this humanitarian effort. It's all legal, it's according to international law, and the people on the shorelines in Gaza need it desperately, and it'll open the doors for more humanitarian aid to arrive. So please consider a resolution in support of the Madeleine and Greta Thunberg and the Freedom Flotilla Coalition to do that little bit that they can. And I just want to remind people, Sam and Pearl Oliner were members of this community, and they wrote this book about the altruistic personality, about rescuers and not being bystanders, and people going to great risks of themselves to save others in great need. And we can be an altruistic community in helping those people in another part of the world in great need.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Hello, council members and mayor. My name is Tricia Murphy, and I'm here to voice my support for Sister City and to voice my support for signing the CalPERS letter to divest from companies that are aiding Israel in this genocide. I listened to a former prime minister, Ehud Olmert. He said of the genocide that's being carried out, terror is terror. It's totally unacceptable and unforgivable, and that Israel soldiers are killing children as a hobby. You can check for this. This is what he said, not my words. What Israel is doing now in Gaza and the West Bank is totally intolerable and unforgivable. It's totally against the basic human values and human compassion. There's another Israeli Jewish person who has a really good interview. He was living in Iraq with his family in the 50s when Zionism came to be in Palestine, and a lot of those people were bombed by Israel to get the Jewish communities to come in to Palestine, where they were treated like second-class citizens because they were Arab Jews. He's a sweet old man. He's got very curly, looks like an afro, white hair. And he wrote a book. And the book that he wrote is called Memoirs of an Arab Jew. And his name is Avi Shleim. And he has an interview on Chris Hedges on YouTube on the Chris Hedges Report. Chris Hedges, if you don't know, is a prize-winning journalist. I listened to Gabor Mate respond to a person who talked about Hamas and how this is all Hamas's fault and how this was the most deplorable killing of Jews since the Holocaust. And Gabor Mate responded to her and said, that didn't happen. You can read about the beheaded babies that didn't happen in the New York Times. You can read about it in Haaretz. You can read about how Israel bombed their own people that day at the music festival, over 1,000 cars. They killed a lot of people that day, and it's there. It's available if you want to look for it. Look for Haaretz. I support a sister city. I support the CalPERS. I support bringing Israel to a point where they can't do this, nonviolently, by boycotting Israel.
Thank you very much for your comments. Is there anyone else that would like to speak during oral communications in the audience? Then we'll move over to our participants that might be on Zoom. Thank you.
Blaise, please go ahead.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. I am an educator. First of all, I want to thank you for having this public comment period, and you're very brave and considerate people for taking this job, and especially having it at such a difficult time with such controversial issues. And I just really, my hat's off to all the city council members. I've taught political science at Humboldt State University and at College of the Redwoods, and I teach history in our local schools. I want to say, never again anywhere. Never again anywhere. Those are the words that the movement against genocide are primarily inspired by. And those words echo from our Jewish friends who never want to see another genocide against anyone, anywhere. And the wonderful Jewish tradition brought us that consciousness, just as the wonderful Jewish tradition that this movement respects and follows the leadership of Abraham spawned several of our major religions today: Judaism, Christianity and all of its sects, and Islam. And so we are not opposed to Judaism. The peace movement, as many peace movements in America before, have been quite led by Jewish peace activists. And this movement is no different. There are thousands and thousands, and a very high percentage of American Jews are part of the Jewish Voice for Peace, for example, and other organizations who are opposed to this genocide. Is it a genocide? Would a political science professor use that word loosely? Absolutely not. I turn to the organizations who have always defined and done their research to define when it's a genocide and when it's not.
Thank you very much for your comments. Appreciate it. Our next speaker, please.
Tamara, please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. First, I wanted to say, bring them home now. 607 days that my brothers and sisters should be at home and to end this war. I want to speak something else today. Open anti-Semitism has become more profound. It feels incomprehensible, but it's become increasingly normalized. Look, the Jewish community was already feeling so vulnerable after the last few months, after the last few years, and frankly, after the last few decades, in which we've seen a severe increase in anti-Semitism. The anti-Semitic attack in Boulder, Colorado comes on the heels of a shooting less than 2 weeks ago outside the DC Jewish Museum that took the lives of Jewish couple. A month before that, we saw the firebombing of the Jewish governor's home in Pennsylvania, Joe Shapiro. In all cases, Jews were targeted as a result of offenders' belief that they should be held accountable for the action of the Israeli government. We should make no mistake. Targeting Jews for the action of the Israeli government is anti-Semitism. Period, full stop. The Jewish community is fearful. We know that this is a result of increasing normalization of this sort of anti-Semitism. That believe the Jews are here, fair game for protesters, for targeting. This is disturbingly, deeply. Yes, we have to understand it. None of this happening in a vacuum. This is a part of increasingly mainstreamed and normalized anti-Semitism that threatens not just Jews, but each and every community member in the very fabric of our democracy. In the local context, we've also seen this anti-Semitism normalized, especially since October 7, even during public comments in this city council meeting. At the farmers market, anti-Israeli signs and prohibited petition taking advantage of the crowd to gain exposure at this community event. The city of Arcata rents the square to the North Coast Growers Association. Vendors pay fee to participate. Rules against foreign tabling must be enforced. Otherwise, the city is allowing blood label against Jews. Further, the demands of Gaza sister city and comparison to Boulder, Colorado policies toward the Middle East is despicable. Peaceful community can also germinate evil. This evening, I did not come here to speak. I came with a warning.
Thank you very much for your comments. Appreciate it. Our next speaker, please.
Susan, please go ahead. Susan.
Hello. Yes. Hello. My name is Susan Parsons. I want to thank the council for staying clear-headed and balanced and careful as we travel as a community through a very confusing, painful, fractured time. I want you to know that I am fearful. As a Jewish mother and grandmother, I am very frightened. And we feel overwhelmed and bullied, shunned and ostracized. So it means so much to me that the council takes care as they go forward to consider whether or not to use city resources in a way that I think is out of place. I oppose the sister city vehemently. These problems are ancient, multifaceted, very complicated, very painful and fraught. We're talking millennia. So I appreciate your caution in stepping forward into that morass. It is worthy of much study, contemplation, and care. Please take care before you make any decisions. That's a rash, quicksand, no-win situation, and I appreciate everything that you do locally for our community and our people are unhoused, are hungry. There's so much to do right here with our resources, and they should not be diverted into an ancient, age-old conflict. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Our next speaker, please.
Rosebud, please go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I have a question. Well, I have a statement. This is for everybody that's raised the Palestinian flag since October 7th. I'm just wondering, where is your flag of Yemen? In Yemen, 500,000 people have died in the last 10 years, the biggest famine and humanitarian crisis in modern history. Why does no one care when 500,000 Yemenis die? What about Sudan? In less than 2 years, more than 150,000 people have been killed. Where is your flag of Sudan? And what about Syria? 500,000 Syrians have been killed. Where is your Syrian flag? Why is it when Arabs kill millions of Arabs, nobody bats an eye? Where is the outrage? Where is the protests? Why don't you mention the Houthis in Yemen who spent millions of dollars firing rockets at Israel instead of feeding their starving people? Why do people go on and on about this Israel, which is about as big as New Jersey, but fail to mention the Islamic regime in Iran even one time? How can you speak about the conflict in the Middle East while ignoring the party that has armed, trained, and funded terror proxies like Hamas, Hezbollah, and Houthis who have been bombing Israel thousands of times? I think we know why. As somebody else has once said, no Jews, no news. But it's not about human rights. It's not about the Middle East. It's about virtue signaling. It's about people who've convinced themselves that they're on the right side of history. And if they're not shouting free Palestine, they're complicit in this war. It's beyond being about the Middle East. It's about attaching yourself to a movement because you're starved for identity. It's aesthetic activism at its best, and it's domestic terrorism at its worst. Free Palestine. Maybe it started with a good intention, but it's been taken over by zealots. Just go online, just go on any social media. It's all about inciting violence against Jews, Jews in America, Jews in Europe, your Jews in Canada. Like that fellow that yelled free Palestine and then shot this young couple dead on the streets of DC. One was an American, she was an American, the woman, and her fiance was Israeli. Or the guy that screamed free Palestine and threw Molotov cocktails into a crowd of with children, lighting a Holocaust survivor on fire. This is in Boulder, Colorado, which...
So thank you very much for your comments. Appreciate them. Our next speaker, please.
Ramira, please go ahead. Ramira, please unmute yourself.
Hi, I wanted to come here to encourage all of City Council to send their letter to CalPERS to divest from this genocide and to divest from Zionist weapon manufacturers that are the firearms that are murdering hundreds of thousands of people now. I also wanted to voice support for Gaza City. So thank you to Sarah, and I expect Mayor Alex Stillman, Kimberly White, Meredith Matthews, and Stacey Atkins Salazar, that it's your turn to send your letters. This is a Palestinian Holocaust, and contrary to what the previous Zionists have said, there are millions of Palestinians starving, and we don't have to make it up. If you go to social media, you will actually see the actual real lifetime footage coming to us every day. Every day. This is a Holocaust. And it is disgusting that we tolerate these murderous people spewing lies. But their time will come. Their time will come. I have been in contact with a Palestinian family for over 6 months now. And I just wanted to let you know that on the daily, I have people begging me for help because they are so hungry that they are in pain 24/7. Children, babies that do not have enough to eat, and they are hurting, and they are being bombed, and they are screaming, and they are crying. This is a Holocaust, and it is time for you, City Council, to act. I am a trans woman. If you want to uphold trans liberation, then you must also uphold Palestinian indigenous liberation. Send your letter to CalPERS. Send your letter to CalPERS. It is the least that you all can do. It is the least you all can do. And I hope by the next time City Council meeting comes up, you all will have sent your emails or letters to CalPERS.
Thank you very much for your comments. Appreciate it. Our next speaker, please.
Rayner, please go ahead.
Hello. Hello. I want to emphasize just how much popular momentum I have been witnessing for the Gaza Sister City movement. And now that is translating into momentum for the CalPERS letter. As I continue to work within this movement, as I continue to work with the people of this community, I see more and more passion, more and more support building for what we are trying to do, or for what we're already doing, and we seek to build upon that progress. And this is a trend that is going to keep growing across the country as more of the American people react to the horrors that they're witnessing in Palestine. And given everything that I've seen and heard, Humboldt County is a place where that energy in favor of Palestine it's incredibly strong. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much for your comment. Our next speaker, please.
Sherry, please go ahead.
Hi, good evening, City Council members. Thank you for your patience. I would like to thank 4 of you for not sending a BDS letter to CalPERS, and please do not consider a sister city with Gaza. The rhetoric repeated in every City Council meeting is one-sided and meant to emotionally manipulate you. It does not help the citizens of Gaza who are demonstrating to be out from under the thumb of Hamas. Hamas has no incentive to agree to a ceasefire when they have so much support here in the US. Here's a list of war crimes that Hamas and Gazans committed, and for some reason the Sister City crowd never brings these up. They violated a ceasefire on October 7. They killed civilians, they kidnapped civilians, they used sexual assault as a weapon of war. They stole the bodies of Israelis they killed and took them back to Gaza and are still holding them hostage. They use hospitals, schools, and UN facilities as armories. They fight wearing civilian clothing. How can you tell who is a civilian and who is a militant when they're all dressed the same? They shoot rockets from residential neighborhoods. They shoot rockets from within evacuation zones. They keep hostages in hospitals. Hostages held by civilians in their homes. Theft of UN aid that is sold at great cost to their people. They are torturing and starving the hostages. This is not a one-sided issue. There are war crimes committed by the IDF that will be investigated, but no one ever wants to hold Hamas accountable. Please support the citizens of Gaza who are out demonstrating and hoping to be under the thumb of Hamas. Please do not consider a sister city situation because it just gives support to the people who are manipulating their own citizens for their own gain. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Appreciate it. Our next speaker, please.
Jean, please go ahead. Jean, please unmute yourself. It looks like you've unmuted yourself. Can you please try speaking?
Speaking, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great. Bring home all the hostages, including 10,000 Palestinian hostages, 5,000 of which Israel held as of 10/6/23. More than 1,200 of them without any charges whatsoever, and more than 350 of them being children. As for fact checking, just one of many corrections needed tonight is that Hamas tried to give up power in an agreement that apartheid Israel and the US just rejected, proving the belligerent colony doesn't care about Jews, which it already proved many times over, including by sending helicopters to set fire to its own people, fleeing a music festival on 10/7 that it put outside of a concentration camp with Hellfire missiles and with shelling the kibbutz Be'eri under the Hannibal Directive, as documented by Israeli media and reported on by the surviving Israeli that reported that it was Israel that killed all of her friends and her partner. The Bad Hasbara serves a settler colonial land and resource grab for supremacists, which disgraces Jewish Holocaust survivors and victims by doing what Albert Einstein warned in 1948 would replicate fascist Nazism. Holding a single standard for everyone being equal is what is righteous. This council read aloud from a United Nations human rights document, a statement of its supposed values and principles. Given that and numerous laws, what work other than sending the letter advising CalPERS to divest from apartheid, belligerent occupation, genocide is important enough, or does this council think gives it cover to keep you from complying? Do any of us remember what business the city council engaged in 1930s, 40s Germany? Doesn't the entire world only look now to those elected officials and say, what did they do to help stop the fascist takeover and the genocide of their time by their own government? What do we say about and how do we name those elected officials who used their positions then to protect the Holocaust that forcibly starved and terrorized human beings in concentration camps like in Gaza now? The word is collaborator. The Nazi perpetrators expanding and implementing its final solution counted on the cooperation of government collaborators, as well as public acquiescence to carry out its fascist genocide, like now. But Hitler and the Nazi Germans tried harder to hide it. People then said they didn't know. Arcata City Council members know it all and choose to profit from it through CalPERS investments. They have the human rights orgs and UN committee reports and genocide scholar consensus documenting genocide. They know that the World Court, the highest in the land, has ruled that the apartheid entity's settlements on Palestinian land, who speak a Semitic language, are illegal and must be dismantled along with its criminal occupation, making boycott, divest, and...
Thank you for your comments. Appreciate them. Our next speaker, please.
Amy, please go ahead. Amy, please unmute yourself. Amy, it looks like you're still muted. Can you please try unmuting yourself?
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, so I just wanted to, I've never called before, but I've been listening for months and months while people that I respect greatly have been imploring you to send the CalPERS letters. The work was done for you. I'm astonished that only Sarah has sent the letter. And I thank you, Sarah, for that. And I cannot encourage the rest of you enough. And I can't even imagine what would be holding you back from divesting from this genocide, from an apartheid ethno-state that imprisons children, shoots children in the head day after day, starves people. You've heard it all. You all know. There's not one of you that doesn't know. I've been a member of this community for 25 years. I've raised 5 children here. They've attended 6 different Arcata schools. And I'm ashamed of this city council right now, that you receive these letters week after week, day after day, month after month, and they're not being sent. Please send the letters.
Thank you for your comments. And our next speaker, please.
Andrew, please go ahead.
Hi, thank you. I just wanted to say first, please send the letter to CalPERS. It's very easy. I'm a teacher, and I'm a beneficiary of CalSTRS. I did the same thing, really easy. Secondly, I'm coming here, I'm with the Humboldt Tenants Union, and I'm urging the council to acknowledge that according to the Affordable Housing Needs Report for 2025, our county has at least 1,600 unhoused people and 6,001 freeze all rent raises now and expedite public housing. And please send the letter to CalPERS. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Appreciate it. Our next speaker, please.
Eamon, please go ahead. Eamon.
Hello. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to the City Council. Thank you. In light of recent attacks on Jewish people here in the United States, I would like to add to the sentiment expressed by others here that the Free Palestine movement has become supported by insidious forces that seek to divide our communities. This has led to extremism and terrorist attacks here at home. Peaceful communities can also germinate evil. Just like we've seen in Boulder, Colorado, and Washington, D.C., it could happen here. This evening, I do not come to speak only. I came with a warning. Violence can happen here. I request that the City Council make a statement, as others have done in law enforcement in other places in the United States. The statement that Jewish people will be safe in our community at all costs. The recent attacks were predictable and preventable. Please don't let it happen here. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Appreciate it. Our next speaker, please.
Gigi, please go ahead. Gigi, please go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, thank you. I wanted to speak tonight in support of divestment from CalPERS. Not surprised to hear that Sarah's the only one who's done that, but appreciate that. Also want to speak in support of the Gaza City project. And I also want to echo support for a rent freeze. Sheesh, let's take care of business here tonight, people. I am so disgusted at the continuous racism that I hear from Zionists spewed on these public comments, open attacks, Islamophobia, anti-Arab racism repeatedly, and all wrapped in the guise of a victimhood and anti-Semitism. But here we are, all of us experiencing something here, us Arabs experiencing racism in the community as well, attacks in the community as well, vandalism of vehicles, of people with Free Palestine stickers or flags on their vehicle, in their vehicle. I had a friend who had their tires slashed, who had a Free Palestine flag in their vehicle and no other markers. To say that the violent attacks on Jews in this country should be expected and we should all be horrified. We should be horrified about violence directed at anyone. What about Wadia, the little boy who was stabbed to death because he was a Palestinian in the States? The 3 young men, college students in Vermont, who were gunned down because they were wearing kufias. the little girl in Texas who was had an attempted drowning in an apartment pool because she was a hijabi, and a neighbor accused her of being a terrorist. It's so weird to me that we're out here condemning violence against some and not violence against others, and people who say some people are inherently violent, but we're not inherently violent. And then we're trying to all virtue signal and accuse each other of virtue signaling. It's just so weird. Can't we just divest from war profiteering? Why is that a scandalous thing to ask for in 2025? Why is it scandalous to ask our community to pull a community that cares supposedly about human rights and environmentalism and all of these things?
Thank you very much for your comments. I appreciate it. I wanted to ask, how many more do we have? We have one more person?
We have one more hand raised from someone who has not already spoken during oral and written communications tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Amy, please go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm here supporting the Gaza sister city as well as the divestment of CalPERS. And I'm just kind of sitting with, I wasn't expecting to hear a lot of the comments that I heard tonight. I am shocked that in this day and age where we have so much access to research and knowledge that we don't investigate the lies and propaganda that we've been told here in America. Just like Native Americans didn't have a Thanksgiving feast with the Pilgrims, this isn't a millennial old conflict as we've been told by history book history. Israel is an occupying force. It is settler colonialism. It's they're taking the same page. You can look at the history of America and of the genocide of Native Americans and see it being played out in real time in front of us on our cell phones. And it's really, I'm just sitting with kind of shock at the way that these lies are continuing to be perpetuated. My wife of 17 years was Jewish, my dearest friend, and this is to equate pro-Palestinian voices with anti-Semitism is missing the whole point. We care about humanity, and the person who was whatabouting about Sudan and Syria, we care about all the injustice, but the fact is that it's US bombs that are destroying Palestinian lives, all of Gaza, and it's the least we can do to hold ourselves accountable, to learn our history. It doesn't take much to actually investigate what's going on, and I consider this an educated and caring and compassionate community, and I just really ask you to look at the experts, the literal genocide experts at the UN, Amnesty International, Doctors Without Borders. These are not radical organizations. These are established, compassionate forces of good in the world. And if they're raising alarms, then try to sit with that and understand what that means. So, yeah, again, I support Arcata becoming a sister city with Gaza. I support us creating pathways for education and understanding.
Thank you very much for your comments. Appreciate it. And I assume that was our last speaker. Yes, well, we'll move on then, and we'll go to council reports. We'll start with Councilmember Schaefer.
Great, thank you. Just a couple things. We had our RCEA budget. It's all budget season for everybody and all of that. energy rates are wild and volatile and crazy. So it was an interesting meeting just to try to handle those projections, but check it out if you're interested or ask me more questions. Also, we had a good Equity Arcata board meeting and getting excited about the planning of Sanctuary Day. And I know Stacy and Kimberly have been involved with Centro del Pueblo and some of the folks from Equity Arcata in planning that. And it's going to be a really beautiful event at the end of August once students are back. And just continuing to update our bylaws and budget, and just a big shout out to Mo, our manager for Equity Arcata, and Fernando up at Cal Poly Humboldt. They've been doing an awesome job and working really well together to get a lot of things rolling. And just some reminders, tomorrow is the Oyster Fest kickoff party. It's at the pub. It's from 5 to 8. It's going to be so fun, so you should go. And that's all I have.
Thank you. We'll go to Councilmember Stacy Atkinson Salazar.
Thank you. So I, like many others of you, I'm sure I attended some kinetic events, which were, of course, fun and interesting. And as Sarah previously mentioned, I did attend a meeting with Kimberly to talk about the Sanctuary Day planning. I also attended some Forest Moon Festival festivities and was a guest on the Rebel Force Radio podcast. And today I attended a presentation from Alicia Hayes regarding the county budget. And there is they'll be having a hearing on Monday at 1:30 if folks are interested in learning more about what's happening with the budget. And then I also just wanted to kind of step back to earlier in the meeting. We kind of blew through the appointment of Mr. Elcock. But I just wanted to thank him for applying because it is a valuable position. So sorry that we kind of rushed through that, but thank you. That's all.
And thank you. We'll go to Councilmember Matthews. Oh, I'm going to go there, then to her, and then to me.
She jumped all over the place.
Yes, well,
All right, thanks.
it's okay.
I just want to once again really thank Emily Sinkhorn and her team, and Hooven and Company, and Senator McGuire, and the rest of the people that worked so hard, like literally down to the last minute to get the ballpark ready and open. It's beautiful. Had the opportunity to meet all the crabs last night, and they really just bring a lot to the city, and I'm super grateful for the new stadium, and hope they have a great season. And yeah, I was really, really proud and honored to raise our pride flag this month that features the Two-Spirit. Oh, is my time up? All right. Thanks.
I was just thinking about it. Anyway, never mind. But it is. A ballpark looks absolutely fantastic. And I look forward to the ribbon cutting. And do you know when that is?
It has not been officially stated yet, but we'll let you know when it is.
And I know you're looking forward to throwing a ball out for the first pitch. Thank you. Kimberly.
To piggyback on the crabs, I'm excited to get some crabs action in hopefully soon. Redwood Region Economic Development Commission meeting on May 26th was canceled, so stay tuned for the next meeting at the end of June for an update. I attended Equity Arcata's planning meeting along with Stacy, as mentioned, for a follow-up event on our Sanctuary City, which was held at the D Street Neighborhood Center in March, and the upcoming event will be at the Plaza at the Farmers Market. Stay tuned for more information. Sarah just highlighted that, so looking forward to that. I attended the Humboldt County Equity Consortium this afternoon, and I'm excited as we move into June, celebrating the vibrant legacies of both Pride Month and Juneteenth, which is on the 19th through the 22nd. Two essential reminders of resilience, liberation, and power of collective joy. For upcoming Pride Month activities, go to Queer Humboldt's website, and for Juneteenth, go to Black Humboldt's website for more information on all of the wonderful activities that are upcoming this month. Kuhn is excited to be hosting our very first Music in the Park Food Truck Festival on Sunday, June 22nd at our newly redeveloped Carlson Park. There will be 3 live bands to include Mojo Rockers, Lost Dogs, Ponies of Harmony, there will be an array of food truck culinary delights. So bring your camp chair, blanket, and be ready for a day fun in the sun at live music at Carlson Park. Following week on June 28th, Saturday, expect more fun in the sun at Carlson Park at the Mad River Parkway. Kuna will be hosting their third annual Tianguis Latinx Flea Market with live music from the Latin Peppers, Banjo Makes Three, and several live dance performances to include ballet, folklorico, and salsa. And finally, I'm excited to announce a ribbon cutting for the city's new dog park in Valley West at Valley West Park on Howland Drive, June 18th at 4:30. That will be for our regularly scheduled city council meeting. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you very much. And so I just wanted to mention that we have a new hydrogen bus, the Humboldt Transit Authority, and they had a dedication for that, and we should soon see that on the roads. And they did a massive test to make sure that it could pull and do everything it needed to do, and it turned out to be better than they expected. So I wanted to go on to our dates of future meetings and future agenda items. I want to confirm a joint study session with the Planning Commission for June 30th, 2025 at 5:30 in this council chambers. And then B is schedule a joint study session on the Board of Directors for the Arcata Fire District for July 30th, 2025 at 3:30 in this council chambers. And I wanted to ask the city manager, will we be having a meeting on July 2nd?
Yeah, currently we have a light agenda, so I would propose that we cancel the meeting on July 2nd unless there's any agenda items that come up that need urgent attention, so.
And how does the council feel about that?
Works for me.
Okay, so at this time, do we need to take a motion on it?
No, I think just direction to put out a notification to cancel that meeting barring any urgent needs to have it.
Okay, so we will give you direction to cancel the July 2nd, 2025 meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, I look forward to seeing you all at the dog park on June 18th at 4:30 before our next council meeting. And thank you, and the meeting's adjourned.